Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Well, I'm not busting in on your meeting, guys. So I won't be here for long. I just because this is kind of the last week and all. Well, not last week,
No,
right?
no, no.
The next week is we can still meet next week, and even the week after that is fine. All right. I just wanted to stop by and say hi, and but how come the others aren't here? Like Shreyas and Denny and all.
We had
I know there's
two others
and Ethan
last week.
too. Ethan was also questioning. He's been questioning also. So I don't know why those guys are not here.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. I hope it's all going well. I think and Jim, I think you've broken through Quest 8 now, and you're starting to look at the spec for Q9.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome, good, awesome, fantastic. Yeah, Adam, you're not far off, I think. So great. Yeah. Are you still?
I'm learning
Are
all
you
about
stuck
quick
on
sort.
8 or 7?
Right now I'm on 7.
You're on 7? I thought, yeah, for some reason I thought you'd finish 7.
I'm working on it. I'm working, getting quick sort working, but
hey,
it's cool. I've studied it before.
Justin said that Q9 is hard, and Q8 was hard, and then Q9 was easy. So I don't know. So I think it would have been the opposite for me. So Q9 I would say is generally harder than Q8, but maybe Justin had found it the other way. So just make sure you have enough time for that.
That's good to know.
I think you need
How
a
do they
whole
compare?
week.
How do they compare to 7? How do they compare to 7?
Well, okay, it's about twice the workload of 7, I think, maybe just because it's got more points and all. It's got a lot more points. I mean, it's not like harder. It's about the same amount of work, but because there's so many points in there, you got to work more for it. That's all. Yeah.
Did you get full points, Jim?
On what? On 8? I'm barely
8.
I can't. I'm not sure if I beat the spec time yet.
There's a spec time involved. All right.
Yeah, right. For get least K. I'm not
that's
sure.
7 now. Isn't that 7?
Well, 8 has one as well, I think. But
really?
I'm not sure why I'm not getting it, because the algorithm for get least K is pretty simple. I'm not sure if I'm missing some kind of optimization in there or something. Or maybe in my.
How close are you?
I could go, right? I mean, you guys are just chatting. So I just wanted to stop by and say hi to you guys, okay? So I didn't mean to watch over and all. Okay, best of luck, and I'll hopefully I'll pop in again next week, okay? I'll pop in again next week and say hi. And anyone who completes all of these quests, please consider being an embedded tutor for 2B. Well, you got to be enrolled in 12 units, but I think someone else and I were talking about this. 12 units is actually not a whole lot, okay? So one math course, for example, is like 5 units. And I don't know. So and you can do a couple of easy courses to generally cushion your load, right? And that doesn't even have to be in STEM. You can do an easy course because there's all these courses in the art department that require a lot of work if you want to go for an A. Yes. If you want to go for an A, you got to put in the same amount of work, regardless of what field it is, right? Whether it's music or computer science or painting, you got ceramics too. But if you just want to have units and have fun, okay, because in all these art classes, I've noticed that it is a great deal of fun to get an up to an A- or something, okay, but getting to an A+ or an A is like an ordeal. And I think that's the way it should be, right? So art should basically be fun for a great deal, and then getting the last 5% polished off, that is where real art is. And well, not real art, but you can have a lot of fun and you can get units. And also Footle will pay you, right, for an embedded tutor. This is not a plug for being an embedded tutor, okay? I don't need an embedded tutor, but I think that the students actually benefit, not you guys, the people who get you as embedded tutors for 2B next quarter. I think they'll benefit, okay? And you guys will have a lot of fun. Check with Colin, okay? Check with Colin. He's busy with UCSB exams this week. But, check with him, and he'll tell you how much the workload is and how much you get paid and all. So it's
Pretty
fine.
cool.
Okay, I gotta submit. If I want embedded tutors, I gotta submit the request by 14th of November, 14th of this month, December. So get back to me by then, and I think it'll be fine.
And what's the deadline for the quest for this course?
Well,
I know we're
technically,
getting
it's
close
the
to it.
week Final. It is a week before the final, which would have been the coming Sunday. But I think what we'll do is we'll cut some slack and say we'll go all the way up to the final exam. But the final is going to be heavy on concept, so I don't want it to eat away into that time. So try and finish everything by the end of this week, and then and you can still keep going until the final, and those who finished it earlier than this week are they can get some extra credit to make up for, or to get some awards for that. But feel free to go until the final, but try and finish everything by this weekend. Yeah.
All right. Sure.
All right. Okay. If there's no more questions for me, I'll take off, and best of luck. Okay. All right. See you guys later.
All right. Thank you. Yep. So Jim, do you have any advice on 7 getting the quick sort going?
No. I mean, the algorithms are in the modules.
Yeah.
You've got the
Is
partition.
quick in the module?
Yeah. There is a module section on quicksort.
I thought it was just the other sort. Okay.
Let me make sure. I'm pretty
There's heap sort.
There's quicksort. It's
Oh,
module 9.
Module 9.
Yeah.
Just gave me a great resource to look at.
No, yeah. I mean, once you look at the modules, they pretty much kind of give away a lot of the algorithms, pretty much.
For quicksort, yeah. Well, in quicksort, it's such a crazy algorithm. I mean, it's
Yeah.
crazy is the wrong word. But
I mean,
pretty counterintuitive. Like,
that partition loop. I mean, I probably would have never figured out that algorithm by myself.
Yeah. I've studied it like theoretically. Like proving that it works is a challenge, stuff like that. But oh man, thank you so much. I thought I was just gonna have to do this. This will make it a little straightforward. And what's 8 about?
8 is heaps, priority queues.
Yeah.
Pretty that 8. I mean, to me, 8 was pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Oh, so you finished 8?
Yeah. I
You
finished
just
8.
the timing.
Yeah, I just
the
finished it.
timing's
Yeah,
off.
there's that one timing, and I didn't do the 2-string yet. So, but I'll come back to those.
The only thing I'd say about timing is like just in general, I think Anand mentions that he like compiles everything with like basically like no optimizations. So there's like a lot of small stuff that you can do that in like a regular compilation and regular compilation setting like would not get you any benefit, but because there's so few optimizations occurring here, little things make a big difference somehow.
Justin, did you get the reward? Did you beat the spec time for Quest 8?
I'm pretty sure Danny said you don't get points, trophies for it, so I didn't bother.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I mean, that get least K method, it seems pretty straightforward. He pretty much gives you the algorithm, and I followed it to spec, and I get the points for it, but there's a spec timing that I'm slower than.
I'm like twice as slow also.
Yeah, so okay. Yeah, because I was looking at my code, I'm like, I'm not sure what more I can optimize. It's not really a like a tricky algorithm. Okay, that's good thing you told me that. Then I probably would have wasted a long time, because I'm like pretty close to meeting his spec time, but yeah. Okay.
What's Quest 9 about? Like max flow or something?
Yeah, I think
network
like,
flow.
Yeah. I haven't even looked at it yet. I barely just passed 8 earlier.
Quest 9 is just like some graph algorithms that build onto like the D quest from 2B.
Right. You said it was easier, huh? Right? Anand said that he would have thought that quest 8 would be easier than 9.
I think Quest 8 was pretty confusing.
Mm.
Did you look at the modules? I mean, I followed the modules and it was pretty kind of 101 about what you were doing.
I kind of did, but I don't know. I just don't really understand it too well. Took me a long time.
Is it on, is it Dytra's algorithm? Crucial?
Yeah, it includes that one also.
Yeah. Yeah, these are, they're, again, not super intuitive, not intuitive particularly. Yeah. Interesting.
However, it gives a lot of points though if you finish it all. Yeah, I think it's like 50.
Yeah, I gotta get through, I have to get through the whole. I think it'd be very hard to do well on this course if you don't finish all the.
I mean, does the final still have 2 tries?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Has anyone asked him about that?
Yeah, I
think
was just
heard
gonna
about it from you
check
guys.
what the time is or what the date is. It's on the 15th.
So, yeah,
Oh, so it's next week already, huh? Did you
yeah,
just
how
start?
long is it, you see?
30 questions, the exam.
The final?
Yeah, the final.
Interesting.
And then there's a practice that's available this Saturday. That's 7 questions.
I've missed every one of his practice exams, like. Cause they're, they're timed, they go close, they open, right before the test. Just forget to check them.
I think the practice for the final and the midterm are the same.
Oh, really?
really?
Okay.
Because I remember from 2B they were the same.
There we
Yeah,
are.
huh, it probably is. They're both 7 questions, I can see.
Oh,
Yeah, it probably is the same one.
Yeah.
Oh. Hopefully we get 2 attempts.
Yeah, man, it's pretty bold to do both attempts, I don't know.
I mean, the worst case she takes your first attempt, right?
Yeah, I mean,
He's
worst
not gonna
case-
give you 0.
yeah.
Sure.
Well, actually, I could check because I could check. Did he give me full credit? Yeah, for the midterm, he gave me the full 20, which was what I got on the second attempt. But I mean, like the exams, I don't think you should even worry about them too much, like because like they're not weighted as much as the assignments.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, is there any chance that he meant to give 2 attempts, or is this just a mistake?
I don't know.
Mm. Gotta ask him. Jim, send him a message. See, I'm taking a data science class right now. We have this massive project due this next week. It's like trying to figure out how to balance the time.
I mean, I think pretty much what 7 and 8, like I follow the modules and they pretty much kind of give you a lot of,
Pretty straightforward.
yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of, pretty much gives a lot of the algorithms away to you. So, and at least enough to pop. So I'd say just go
Yeah.
through that, follow them.
Might do it tonight, maybe. Might dive into a quick sort and see if I can get it working tonight.
Quick sorts the
Yeah, the spec mentions that there's lots of. What's that?
Quick sorts the 7 quest, right?
Yeah, 7 now. The spec said that there are lots of like corner cases. Did you find that?
On 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did notice that. Let me.
Yeah.
I'm looking at 8. Yeah. Now I remember 7. Yeah, there's a lot of like off by 1 errors for me.
Really?
Like the ranges that you iterate through, you gotta be pretty careful with that. Like, cause you're pivoting when you do your like your high and low.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I think the modules LOSIF uses,
Interesting.
I think
Okay.
the high side as your pivot, or I think he uses the low, like the top of the low. But then per the spec, Anon wants you to use
Got
the
it.
high side to take that as the pivot. So yeah, there's a lot of like off by 1 errors. Yeah.
Because the pivot goes into one of the two categories. The pivot goes into one of the two partitions. You have to figure out which partition the pivot ends up in. Is that what you're saying?
Right. I think so well the thing is you kind of sort your low and high and you kind of bring them until they kind of equal each other, right?
Right.
So then you want I think the spec he wants your high to, you use the high as your pivot. Yeah. Although now that I think of it, I don't think that really matters. It's low, high.
And you choose the pivot by its index or by the value? I'm like a little confused about this. The pivot is just like defined by the index, right? And then
Yeah,
whatever values that index is now your pivot.
yeah. When you work with it in the your code, you'll be using it as an index, the index of the pivot.
Yeah. But like even for the pivot selected via its index, right? Like
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
taking the middle element or whatever.
yeah. And that's one thing too about the modules that you got to be aware of, because in the modules and the text they select the pivot differently. So
Good. Good to
yeah,
know.
you do
Yeah.
have to account your algorithm for that and figure out how to get the right pivot, because here you're using the algorithm that Anon uses, right? It's like the low, high minus low
Okay.
over 2.
Okay. Have either of you guys tried Copilot? GitHub Copilot?
No.
I've heard of it, but I've never tried it.
So you guys should check it out. I mean, it would be really useful for this course, although might violate some standards, but just in general, it's like it's like a language, an AI assistant that is trained on GitHub code. And it not only looks at your code, it looks at your comments. So it has like a proper, large language model thing that's like interpreting your comments to figure out what you're trying to code. So it's not just looking at your code, which it's trying to understand the meaning of, but it's looking at your spec basically. So the more comments you write, the better the code it recommends is. And because so many people are doing like similar implementations, it's like ruining college courses basically, because it's like auto generating whatever heap sort thing you're doing. So I haven't done it, but at the end of the day, like especially like professional programmers, like it's so much faster, and you're gonna run your test and all this stuff, and hopefully the code it recommends makes sense and stuff. But a lot of people are like, oh, it's a lot like going to Stack Overflow, right? And asking, okay, I'm trying to do this thing, I'm trying to figure what's the best way to do this. It's like, well, it just looks at your comments, and it's like, oh, he's trying to do this, like, and then it's trained in terms of like feedback from the user, so it's very good. It's really, really good. Yeah, I can't imagine a non would want to use on classes, but it's really it's trivializing a lot of programming basically.
Is it free?
I bet with a Foothill account, I'm just taking one course at Foothill, and so I think maybe I couldn't qualify. I can't quite remember, but you can do it. There's GitHub has like a student program. And getting GitHub's owned by Microsoft now, so there's some kind of student program you can do it. Yeah, but it's like a proper cheat code. I mean, it's just and it's kind of like, as long as the class allows you to like Google Stack Overflow, like it's not so different, right? It's just like an insanely accurate search engine, kind of. So you guys should check it out. Yeah, maybe I'll post it to the subreddit. Give the subreddit some new posts.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm looking at like their demos right here, and like it's like you just literally just write in your method name and like the parameter, and then it auto fills that code off of your method name.
And it's like AI. It's like the
Right.
more information you give it, the more accurate it's going to be. So it's like, tell it what you're looking for.
That's crazy.
And this is like a couple of days ago, OpenAI, which is a AI kind of like nonprofit research institute in San Francisco, released the newest version of their like massive language model thing. And you can go to it and try it out, and it's insane. It's like, it is very hard not to argue that this AI does not have like a deep understanding of what it's talking about. It's very good. So but I think especially like in industry, Copilot, I think it's going to be like pretty standard, because
So
it's just going to make
does
you a
it
lot
train
more
its
efficient.
model off like GitHub code? Like,
Yep.
that's when there were like some licensing issues then if you use like Google or something.
It's interesting. Yeah. So this is like the one thing. So I think it's like only trained on code that's, Creative
open
Commons
source?
or something like that.
Yeah.
But I believe it's trained on code that is Creative Commons, which allows people to use it unless it's in commercial applications. So there's a sense that it's like definitely breaking copyright. It's breaking copyright at some level. Because of it, basically you say, oh, I don't know. Basically you say, I don't know what the copyright agreement is on this code. It just gives me my pilot and I'm gonna use it. So, I mean, it's like all these AIs, right? I mean, all these AIs are adapting like work done by people who have not given their permission, right? So like, have you guys seen like the image generation AIs that have come out like the last 6 months or so? Yeah, I mean, like all those are trained on artist work, right? And the artists are getting no credit for it. They're not getting permission for it. But it's learning like a person that goes to the museum and looks at a bunch of art and then makes their own. Like, it's kind of how art is made in the first place. So it's like very human-like the way it's learning. But at the end of the day, just like humans, it's copying, and it's copying like in, every artwork ever created, But yeah, the AI stuff is insane. You guys should mess around. Just go to OpenAI and then find their like beta chatbot link or whatever, and it's bonkers. Just doesn't make sense. You can like basically like say, I want to write a polite email to my advisor about switching courses because blah 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 blah. And it'd be like, dear professor. You can tell, explain to me the quick sort algorithm like I'm 5. Like it's really nuts to play around with. Yeah. And it makes me feel like the programming we're doing now, 10 years from now will look like what assembly looks like to us. where it's like, you only program an assembly if like there's some really specific, optimization or I don't know, systems programming thing you want to do, but for the most part, you're at a higher level. And I wonder 10 years from now, the higher level is just going to be a little further up, like the common level that people are programming at.
Right.
You're writing the comments and then you got to dive into whatever sometimes, but so it's going to be pretty interesting. But I think Copilot's going to be standard. Jim's like, oh, Quest 9 is done. I'm gonna have Quest 9 done half hour, no problem.
How far are you on Quest 9?
Oh, I just got the password for it. I haven't even looked at it.
Oh.
Yeah.
If you implement the toString from 2B, you also get those points.
Oh, okay.
I think they're a decent amount.
Yeah, I don't think I've done any of the two strings in 2C yet.
What?
Yeah,
You skip them? Dude, I need them to debug. Like it makes it so much
Really?
easier.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
skip them. I skip most of them also, so I need the points.
You really?
Yeah.
I was planning to just go back and do them once I pump everything.
But you're saying that
But then-
you're saying the toString is actually the same as the B, pretty much?
Yeah.
The 2B. That's good.
Yeah.
Totally forgotten. Okay. That's great to know. I got that somewhere. Yeah, come on. Come on. Yeah. What's your phone? All right, guys. Do you guys know any of the people that are in the class that aren't coming to these?
Could you repeat that?
Do you guys know anyone else in the class who is not coming to these sections?
Shreyas, Denny.
Do you know them though?
No, I don't know them.
Yeah. You gotta get them. Gotta get them back.
Yeah, I mean the subreddit's been pretty quiet. Like,
I know. Interesting. Are people just what's going on?
I don't
Everyone's
know,
failing
yeah.
school.
Shouldn't there be like 20 people in this class?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
Same with like 2B. It's like not many people actually participate.
yeah.
Like it's like 10% of your grade also.
But do you think people? So seriously, you guys think people are like in the course? I don't quite mean towards the grade, but like, do you think people are just like not doing the course, like enrolled but not doing it, or do you think?
I mean, I think some people just like see it's only 50 points. Like you could get a B without participating, right?
Got it. I'm like a little old to like, yeah. I don't think too much about the points. I guess maybe that's I'm not at the time in my life when I'm optimizing my points. I guess.
Yeah, I think
Probably should be.
Anand did say that. Yeah, there are students that are taking the course, like they're doing the quest, but they're not participating at all.
At all, yeah.
Like we
I
probably don't.
get
even-
the quests are fun. I get it, but I just wonder if there's like, I guess I'm really just wondering if there's students that are like just like straight up failing and like just quietly failing. I guess is what I'm wondering.
I mean, in those classes,
easy to take this.
C++ classes are much harder than other teachers, I guess.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I took 2B and it was cool. It's fun. I don't know. I figured I'd take 2C with him as well.
Because I feel like if you don't have him for 2B, you're kind of screwed.
I think it'd be really hard. I'm
'Cause you have to do
I'm pretty
all of
surprised he
2D
makes them
splits.
do the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah, I think he could cut that down a bit. You know. And do the last 4 or something. I don't know. Yeah, I did all 2A before 2B. I think he said too, it's like you should be able to do all of 2A in like, 4 days or something. I was like, dude, that's a lot. I don't know.
Two-way was pretty hard, especially the last one, like the linked list.
Is
Yeah.
that right? Yeah, it doesn't like less than
Yeah.
that.
Especially
It's
like
same with
I give
2B,
him like
dude.
Yeah, that was my
My-
first time kind of dealing with that, and like that almost broke me. I almost dropped I
Ah,
almost dropped 2B because of it, and then thankfully it clicked like right before like the due date, I think, and then I kind of stuck
Hmm.
with it.
yeah. You guys taking other distance courses? You taking other like remote courses?
No, this is my only course I'm taking.
Um,
But Justin, you said you're thinking of taking the Python track.
I was thinking of taking like a Python, so it'd be 3A.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be easy. I mean,
I mean, I hope after this.
I think it's
But
hard to
Py-
make first. I think it's hard to make first semester Python too hard. I think it's pretty.
I mean, but Python's have like
Straightforward.
pointers and stuff, right? You
Yeah,
can't really like
Python is like
access memory. That's wrong.
Right. Yeah.
just
That's
totally different.
that's one thing I'm kind of curious about as well. Because I mean, I know Python for I use Python for like the basic, like the scripting and all that. But I don't know how that like kind of linked data structures and stuff would work in Python.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, like everything in Python is kind of like done on demand, right? So it's like just different. C++ is compiling things, and for that reason, it has to know where in memory things are going to be stored and how much needs to be in the stack, and like all and Python is really being read like line by line as it runs. So it's compiled into bytecode, but the bytecode, as I understand, is like really kind of like interpreted as it goes, and so so the memory management can kind of be done like on the fly, basically. Where in C++, it's all things need to be figured out at the time. So I don't know. I'd love to take a course that like really explains these sort of different approaches. I have to like piece it together from Stack Overflow posts and stuff. But yeah, but as a result, that there's like no memory management that you have to do as a programmer that I know of.
Sounds like something you'd learn in like a compiler's course or something.
Yeah, but it's interesting, right? It's like so fundamental, right? It's kind of like, but yeah, Python, it's hard to even know what you have to worry about in Python. So it's cool. I find it better for math. Like it's like it's like writing pseudocode. It's really good for algorithms for like just communicating what it is you want it to do without thinking in terms of
But isn't Python much slower?
Much slower, yeah, much slower. Because it's there's like, I'm sure there's optimizations that are occurring when it translates to bytecode, but like it's nothing like what a C compiler does to optimize. And if you're ever like doing gnarly stuff in Python, there are libraries that you can import that allow you to tell the Python like bytecode whatever thing to like actually generate assembly in places that it wouldn't usually. So there's like how you speed up Python is basically like say don't do Python. It's like you speed up Python by saying make assembly out of this, and I will guarantee you that it's this type. So you don't need any type checking. You don't have to worry about things changing. Like you can optimize it because I'm telling you it's this. And like, so C++, you're always declaring what type you're using. And that allows the compiler to be like, okay, I know exactly how much memory needs to be allocated for this. I know exactly how many and all this stuff. Where Python doesn't have that like explicit type declaration. So when the bytecode is generated, you can't necessarily optimize based on it. So, and then when the interpreter runs and it converts to machine code, it doesn't have those like guarantees. But if you make those guarantees and you import libraries that take advantage of those guarantees, then you can like really speed up your code. So you basically speed up your code by making the types explicit like you would in C++, and then using libraries that take advantage of that. So, but when you learn Python first, there'll be like no type declarations at all. You only get to it when you're like trying to get it to compile better into better machine code, basically. I don't know. This is what I understand vaguely.
I mean, doesn't Python's like very popular like machine learning, right?
Which is weird, right? Because it doesn't seem that fast. Yeah. It's super raw. I mean, all the libraries people use are in Python that I know.
Aren't many of the libraries in Python made in C++ for this performance reasons?
Yeah. Yes. At some level, yeah. But again, to get that performance, like NumPy, for instance, I think uses C and all this kind of stuff, and NumPy like forces you to use one type. You can't have like mixed types in like a NumPy array or something. So yeah, so it's kind of like, they kind of enforce these restrictions and then they can optimize a bit. But even with the library that speeds up called Numba works with NumPy. So it's like NumPy uses C++, but it doesn't kind of fully enforce. And then if you enforce even more typing and all this stuff, then it can optimize even more. But I kind of think like no matter what, Python's, I don't know, quite a bit slower, but yeah. But I think if you make these guarantees and you can kind of like, make it more like C++, then I think you're right. I think it does compile and can compile to something very efficient. But Python also maintains this like, this interpreter, right? That you can like query. So, like a C++ program doesn't have that sort of like overhead, right? It doesn't like allow you to stop it in the middle and say like, what is this? So, the Python interpreter has like a state that's like always maintained and you can query and change. C++ programs don't have that sort of requirement. So I think that also just the fact there's some sort of like interpreter that you can talk to, I think slows it down a lot. If you like math, I think you'll like Python. Python's like very mathy, I think. They like designed it with this like concept of like least surprise. So it's like, however they implement something, the goal is like that it works with like the least amount of unexpected behavior. And it's also like very orthogonal. So like, the brackets do something here, like then in the next, in a different class, they'll do something very similar. Like things don't change their operate, the same symbol doesn't change its operation based on where it is as much. So like, like in C++, right, you have like, this is the address, we use the ampersand for address or for reference, for instance. And like, they're related, but like it's a little different. And Python has like very little of that. Like everything kind of has like one meaning, and the way that it changes across types or whatever else is like very consistent. Yeah, it's a cool, the design of Python I think is really cool. And everything I read is like about how Rust is sort of like the next generation of C++. So I haven't really looked at it yet.
I mean, I heard Google made like a C++ performant like language. I remember.
Yep.
Was that Rust or?
No, that's Go. Golang. Go. Yeah. Yeah, I've wanted to learn Go. Go seems pretty cool. Because again, it's like, it's like, yeah, they're all fixing the flaws of what came before, right? So like the reason we use C++, from what I can tell, is just because everything uses it already, not because like, if you're building something from scratch that is not going to interact with anything else, like you wouldn't use C++. But yeah, Golang was really cool. But for some reason, I think Rust is like more popular. I think Rust is like more compatible with C++. Something like that. It's like more of an extension of it. Where Go, as far as I know, is like, learn from C++, but it's like a totally separate thing. I could be wrong. But it's funny for me to hear like how many like, professional software engineers, the whole thing are just like dereferencing like null pointers, like the bane of my life. Like it's like pretty funny to hear how many people are like, at the end of the day, like freeing memory is like a huge deal even now. Like, and so like Go and Rust, like, they make much stronger guarantees about like memory management and avoiding memory errors and stuff.
I'm just thinking like a lot of the C++ stuff, and it's just like there's still a lot of stuff we haven't learned though.
We're doing what do you get? What C++ do you compile at? I do 14, I think.
Huh?
What version of C++ are you compiling for?
I think it's 17 or something.
17.
But I'm just thinking
Okay,
like
wait.
a lot of the SCD stuff. There's like I don't know. There's just like a lot of stuff. I don't even know what it means.
For sure. And like basically no one uses pointers. Everyone uses smart pointers. Like,
Because I was looking at like smart points. I
because
was like, what's that? Like, I thought we learned this stuff more.
No, if you were like doing actual software engineering, I don't think you'd ever want to use a naked pointer. Like it's basically considered like bad programming. A smart pointer basically like does a check before you dereference it. Something like that. Sounds good to me, right? So yeah, it's definitely, we're definitely not learning like industry C++. I think. And there's C++ 21, maybe 22 right now, 21. It's like launched and like approved. I think it's cool, but yeah, this class is definitely like more introduction to programming and algorithms than, actually writing in C++. I think. Jim, don't you do programming for work?
No, I don't.
Aren't you? You're an engineer, aren't you?
I'm just a technical support engineer.
Technical.
Yeah, so
You're not using any languages like at work right now.
I mean it's not part of my job, but I mean, yeah, like I've made like Python script to kind of automate some stuff. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
I was just thinking, if you want to be like in spec time, couldn't you like spin up a new thread and like run two at a time?
Wait, say it again.
Like if you really wanted to be this time for like those trophies, couldn't you just like make a new thread and run two tasks at once? Because I was thinking like he doesn't compile with like any optimization, right?
Right.
Can't you like somehow force it to compile with like I think like predefinitions or stuff, right? Like that like pragma once thing, like it compiles once. I think you can do that to like add many like flags, I think. Pilot flags.
So I'm just trying to think back. I've done like some multi-threaded programming. And I can't remember how we did it in C++. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, to do that involves like system calls. And I don't know. I don't know what. Worth a shot. See if you can break the test server.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing like the test code he runs.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, to beat the large matrix, I had to do like all kinds of weird small like optimizations. Yeah. I'm curious if he's doing them or if he has just like a better overall approach.
Yeah, it'd be cool if he like show us his spec code.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I wonder what he programs in like in his normal programming life. I wonder if he's doing like modern C++ or totally different language. I don't know. Yeah, it's funny. I actually really like it when he's like on the section meetings because it's. I remember in 2B he gave some like pretty long speeches, presentations. They're pretty interesting overall.
I think he's pretty into C++. I think that might be his main.
Yeah, I
Um,
think so.
because
I love to hear him talk about modern C++. Like,
I thought it was you, but I might have been Colin. But I think in the last semester in 2B, I think Colin brought up something about how like C++ is like going out of date or something. And I think he told me that like Anand got real offended by that or something.
I might have said it. I don't remember being offended, but I did ask him about some other languages like Go and Rust and stuff. Yeah, he was not. He was not like he just yeah, you're right. I think yeah, he's like one of these guys who likes C++ because you can get so close to the blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so even things like and like I think a lot of the improvements of C++ are about getting higher levels of abstraction, getting further away, but it's hard, because like I've taken like a systems programming course and it's like the memory that we're getting close to, it's like, virtual memory and who knows, where the actual bits and bytes are being held and like, yeah.
I remember Anand said like if you like use C++ for like a coding interview, it sets like a good precedence because he said it was like the hardest language to learn. So
It's true. It's true. But like, why is it hard, right? Is it hard
Yeah.
because you're doing like memory management or is it hard because the syntax sucks?
I mean, I think the most hard thing about C++ is like the templates.
Yeah.
They're definitely ugly. Like they're hard for me to like read. Yeah.
They're kind of confusing. I just don't really understand them.
Yeah.
Because for hours we just use like a temp. You do it once and that's it.
Right. Yeah. So we don't really have kind of like a real world sense of
Yeah.
the purpose
Because
of a template.
he gives it in his like headers he provides. So
Yeah.
Right. Sure. The yeah, and I think polymorphisms are probably like the strangest part of like standard C++, and you combine that with templates and suddenly you have like, base classes and derived classes with different templatized parameters and like managing like a proper C++ class, C++ like software with lots of like inheritance and, virtual functions, interfaces. And like, I think that must just get just so hairy, like the way that they think about it. Right. And like the polymorphisms are kind of like, can be done at like runtime, right? But then the templates are figured out at compile time. And like even on 7, like I can't get my code to compile unless I remove one of the files from the make file. So like I'm using cline and it's like built around a make file. So I have no idea why not including the file in the make file instruction allows the linker to put it together. But if I include the file in the make file instruction, it doesn't, the linker bugs out. So it makes zero sense to me. Yeah, I wonder about like industrial C++ must be so hard to maintain because like it's just it's very opaque, you know. Including templates, including like
Have you any of you guys done any like graphics programming?
what's that?
Any like graphics programming?
No, I've never done anything like that.
I saw he'll offer a course on it like 2 semesters ago. I was like, that's pretty cool. But it's not offered this semester, next semester. So
What's it about? It's about making. You mean like game engines? Or you mean like GUIs or?
I think it's just like rendering 3D stuff, which is with like lighting and stuff. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I was looking at an interview with a game designer. He made this like 2D like Dark Souls type game, sort of good. And he's like, oh, you know, he's like made it with his girlfriend. It's like one guy made the whole game. And he's like, I know nothing about programming. Like, I know nothing about it. I built it using, you know, whatever game engine. It's sick. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a template type program. Like it's its own weird system. They did it with like zero programming knowledge. Like nothing. So I just, you know, like so many of the things that like you take classes on aren't really relevant for building software unless you happen to be building like, you know, Unity or, you know, building like the fundamental tools. I was signed up for ethical hacking this semester, but I had to drop it. That was the one I'm thinking about. What if I took that?
I was reading about like GPU programming stuff.
Mm,
Like that'd be interesting to learn, but
yeah, cool. Very cool.
Right, like parallel programming and all that stuff.
yeah, I was looking at this like it doesn't make any sense. Like how would that work? Because that's a whole like industry, right? GPU
Yeah.
programming.
Yeah. I know people complain a lot in Python that, you know, it doesn't really utilize GPUs. Like it's, yeah, I think it's like a pretty challenging area. All right, guys. It's time for me to go. I'll see you guys on Reddit.
All
See you
right.
guys next week.
See you guys.
Yeah. Let's try to see if we get Anand to tell a story. See if you get him riled up over something, Jim. We'll just talk crap about C++. See if we can get him to tell us why it's the true language. All right, guys. Have a good night. See you next
All right.
week.
See you
See
guys.
you next week, guys. Good night.